Climate change is a fact and its effects are considerable. Extreme climatic phenomena look like becoming more intense and more frequent, with all the inherent consequences for the environment, biodiversity, human health and the economy. Today, the European Union knows that it's no longer a time for questions, but for action.
Climate change will be with us at least for the next 50 years. Europe will not be spared by climate change. We have to be very clear in our mind. We may be a temperate zone, but we will be affected as others. We will have stronger winds, we will have droughts, and at the same time in other places we will have too much water. We will have rising sea levels, and we need to adjust to all these things. So we need to act now to reduce the impact.
Immediate action here is clearly a necessity. In particular, danger from climate change, the Netherlands are threatened on two fronts. On the one hand, the sea level is rising. They're predicting a rise of up to 1.3 meters by 2100 and 4 meters by 2200. On the other, three major European rivers, the Rhine, the Meuse and the Scheldt, which converge in the Netherlands, are seeing their levels rise with increased rainfall. This country, where some of the people live below sea level, has already experienced dramatic flooding. As a result, the height of tens of kilometers of dikes was raised and anti-flood barriers were built under the famous Delta Plan. Today, these precautions are no longer enough. This is the map of the zones susceptible to flooding as it will be in just a few dozen years if nothing is done. At the request of the government, the new Delta Commission has studied the measures to be taken because of the effects of climate change. Its conclusions are incontestable. The whole land management plan has to be reviewed. Sea levels are rising much faster than we anticipated. This has been proven by additional research. But is that a reason for panic? No. It's a slow process that happens gradually and gives us the opportunity to make adjustments. The committee has provided an integral, coherent vision for the entire country, for the sea and rivers, for fresh water, and the opportunities they present. The Delta Commission has established 12 priorities. They include widening rivers to give them more room when they're in flood. But the European solution to European rivers approach underlines the fact that the Commission insists on the necessity of cooperation with neighboring countries. And programs are already underway. The European Union finances a dozen land management projects in Germany and Holland in the Rhine Basin. These works are a response to the serious flooding which hit the Netherlands in 1995. After 1995, it became apparent to the people responsible for managing the waterways that we couldn't survive just by raising the height of the dikes. So then it was decided to give the rivers more space. And that's what led to the establishment of a national program called Room for the River. Upstream, to slow down floodwaters, retention zones are created like this one near Loerwaard in Germany. Downstream, on the other hand, expansion zones are required. This is an example on the outskirts of Arnhem, not far from where the Rhine divides into three branches. This is an ancient 120-hectare floodplain which had been transformed into agricultural land protected by a dike. The decision was taken to purchase this land and to give it back to the river by moving the dike 250 meters further inland. And so a larger area has been reserved for the river so that it can expand freely when necessary with no danger to the surrounding area. Further on, secondary branches of the river had been dammed up to maintain a sufficient level of water for boats to travel down the main course and to reclaim land. Today, these branches have been progressively reconnected to the river to create floodwater storage zones. Here and there, basins have been created to increase the storage capacity, and obstacles slowing the flow of the river have been systematically removed. This bridge has to be built to replace the road because it was an obstacle at times of high water. Despite fears to the contrary, the land surrendered to the river is not lost to us. In low water periods, animals continue to graze there, and there'll be a natural environment and recreational areas for people to enjoy. This entire zone will become a nature reserve. You can already see flocks of birds and ducks, and soon, when the work's finished, it'll be even more beautiful than it is now. Meanwhile, in southern Europe, people are faced with the problems caused by the water shortages resulting from global warming. This map shows the regions that are in danger of suffering desertification. The problem is particularly serious in Spain, Europe's driest country. A third of its territory is at risk, and solutions that will enable us to adapt to face the problem are urgently required. One example is Garre village in the province of Soria, in the heart of the independent community of Castile-Leone. Carlos Fernandez is a rather unusual kind of agronomist. His colleagues call him a cyber agronomist. Sorry, I have a message. I have to go. My field is calling me. It's thirsty. Bye. Wherever he might be in the world, he stays in touch with his crops, which, if they need him, can call him at any time. You receive a level 2 alert on your mobile, which tells you your field is very dry. So then you need to get straight to a computer with internet access and order the crop to be watered from anywhere on the planet. Carlos works for a company specializing in growing organic plants for food and medicines. It's a type of agriculture which requires very precise irrigation conditions. So his company invested in a sophisticated telematic system which allows irrigation to be managed remotely and in real time. On the computer, we can see all the parameters that control the growth of the medicinal plants we work with. So we can check the level of humidity, temperature, ground humidity, wind speed, all the climatic parameters which influence plant growth. All this information comes from a micro-weather station and a battery of probes placed in the fields. The information is relayed to the central computer on an ongoing basis by GPRS. According to the needs of the plant, the land is irrigated automatically at the most opportune moment with only the amount of water which is strictly necessary. No more, no less. In a region where every drop counts, this water management tool has become indispensable. Here, annual rainfall is only about 550 litres per square metre, and climate change is likely to increase the frequency of drought considerably. Intelligent irrigation has saved an incredible amount of water. Yes, it's true, we do save a lot of water. We consume only 30% of the amount which traditional irrigation would use. But intelligent irrigation has not only helped to save water, here it's also led to a considerable improvement in the medicinal properties of the plants. The quality is high. We obtain up to 30% more active principles compared to plants irrigated conventionally. The system, called Optimizagua, is partly the brainchild of this man. It's part of the LIFE program, a European program supporting environmental and nature conservation projects. He believes the system can be used everywhere, becoming profitable almost immediately, given the amount of water which can be saved, from 40% to more than 60%. The system can be applied in agriculture, but also in sports fields, grass verges, anywhere where a watering system is needed. It can be combined with a rainwater recovery system, for example, on buildings and new constructions. but also for sports stadiums, golf courses and so on. The system is truly open to lots of different applications where the watering of plants has to be managed. In Saragossa, real estate developers have already integrated the system in the design of a new residential area. The city itself is also keen on the project and has adopted intelligent irrigation in several parks and green spaces. We have a program of adaptation to climate change, which itself includes a program specifically for economy and efficiency in water consumption. One of the central elements in this program looks at how to save water, as in the Optimis Agua project, whether it's in parks and gardens, in the distribution network, or in people's homes. Hardly any mains water is used here for irrigation. They use mainly rainwater collected from the roofs and yard of the neighboring school. It's collected by the drainage system and stored underground. The result is a 68% water saving. Quite clearly, adaptation to climate change is also a matter of technological innovation.